This is Shop Small Saturday. And while this Anderson small business is celebrating a very significant milestone, they're celebrating and continuing to make positive impacts both financially and socially in our community. Christy Kirk joins us from Modern Trailer Sales. And Christy, there's a lot to talk about today, but please, if you would, share with us what Modern Trailer Sales is celebrating.
Yeah, so this year marks our 70th anniversary that the dealership was founded by my grandparents. So this year we've really taken a lot of time to commemorate the 70th anniversary. We've been doing, for the month of November, we've been doing a give thanks to our customers, our vendors, and our employees, because clearly we don't get to 70 years in business by ourselves. That takes a whole community of people to be able to do that. So we've been giving a thanks via social media highlights to employees, vendors, and our community customers. We've also been tonight we're doing a community event. We've also been doing employee appreciation events. And so we're really taking the time to celebrate that with a big 70th anniversary party coming up here this weekend at the dealership.
Modern Trailer is recognized throughout the Midwest as one of the premier dealerships. Let's talk about some of the communities that you recognize customers coming from.
I would say some of the biggest communities that we recognize customers coming from, one would be clearly here in Madison County. And then the surrounding counties, very large in Hancock County, Hamilton County, Henry County. We draw a lot from Marion County. And then even starting to be a little bit further north into Grant County as well. But we have customers come from all over the country, really. But we primarily handle central Indiana and basically try to take care of the community that's right here in front of us. We don't set out to be an internet dealer where we're selling all across the country. We want to take care of the customers in our own backyard, sell and service to those customers.
Christy, undeniably, Modern Trailer is a piece of the pie when it comes to an economic draw to Madison County. The Associated Press just put out a report recently that says factories shipped about 55,000 units during September from RV industry. That sets a record for the most shipments in a single month, and it's a 32% increase from September of 2000. How does that hold up to the light with Modern?
There has been tremendous inventory shortages throughout this year in our industry, just like there have been in most. So a lot of that number that was seen was our manufacturers catching up on the shortages. They had units in what they would call their freight yards that were missing parts. So they were able to clean up a lot of that the month of September. And essentially, we also were able to restock our lot to almost full capacity at this point. We're back to normal pre-COVID levels of inventory at the dealership.
That same report that says towable RVs accounted for about 51,000 of September's wholesale shipments, compared to about 4,000 for motorhomes. Would you say that that's relatively representative of your sales?
Yeah, we've been able to maintain, a strong sales level throughout the entire year. Even when we were running inventory shortages, we were still able to keep at the same pace as we had years past. But yeah, I would say, in the state of Indiana, we've been able to stay right on top of where we have been accustomed to with our sales.
Why do you believe that towables are so much more popular in sales than the motorhomes?
Well, I think, it does give people the flexibility to, one, they could buy a $15,000 camper or on up to $100,000. So in terms of the value, they have a lot of room to really decide how much money they want to spend. And there's a lot more variety there with the towables. But I also think the fact that they can unhook their vehicle when they get to the campground and drive without having to disrupt their whole campsite does play a factor in that too. And also, I would say that a travel trailer or a fifth wheel would typically give you more variety in the floor plans that you could get. They typically have more storage than a motorized. But I think a lot of it comes into play with the cost of a travel trailer versus a cost of a motorhome.
So, as Hoosiers and as Americans, do you think that we're at an all time high for the number of people going camping for recreation?
We were talking about that today. Have we hit the top of that bell curve? And I would say we're pretty close to that. But I think as we see more and more people enjoy camping with their families, that's going to continue to where what we see here at this dealership is it continues to get passed down through the generations. So I do think it's going to continue to be a hot demand for families over the next several years.
You mentioned earlier the word specialty. Are there any specialties that people come to you looking for?
I think a lot of times what people are seeking out currently in this market is more lightweight travel trailers, that they don't have to have what they feel is a big truck. They don't have to have a 3/4 ton truck to pull a camper. We're starting to see more and more people who are wanting to pull campers with the smaller SUVs. So I do think having smaller and lightweight campers is going to become more crucial over the next few years.
What about toy haulers? Is that something people are looking for?
Yeah, we still have a strong demand for that, and a lot of people that specifically want a toy hauler, they're using it to pull four-wheelers in it, side-by-sides, motorcycles, golf carts, because a lot of them tend to have an additional hobby besides camping that requires them to have a toy hauler and for it to be beneficial for them. But that demand is still pretty high for customers who want toy haulers as well.
What kind of an inventory typically do you have on the lot at any given time throughout your peak season?
We get close to about 300 new units and maybe 50 pre-owned units, and we'll have anything from a variety of a $15,000 new travel trailer to a $100,000 new fifth wheel. But we tend to keep a pretty big variety, whether it is a bunkhouse for families or whether it's what we would call a couples coach that's just going to be for two people. But we constantly try to make sure we have a variety that we could show anybody, that at least give them some options when they're shopping for their camper adventures.
Speaking of your dealership in particular, you're very community minded. We just heard recently from Secret Families of Madison County that you're helping out in great detail with their effort. Let's talk about the involvement in the community that is a philosophy of Modern.
Yeah, every year we try to look for a way that we can help our community. The last few years, for example, it was Secret Families this year. We did sponsor 5 families, and we also are a drop-off facility for anybody that does want to donate to that organization. Last year in particular, we also did, adopt a child at iTown Church. The year before that, we worked with APA, that we did a percentage of all of our sales went to their organizations to help with their pet rescue. But we feel that it's extremely important to give back to our community. Anderson has been such a giving community for us. We count on this workforce, we count on these customers, and we want to make sure we're making our community proud and giving back and helping to move everything forward here in Anderson.
And you're clearly doing that, Christy Kirk. Thanks for joining us and for what you and Modern Trailer Sales does to make our community a better place to live. Support the small businesses like Modern Trailer Sales in our community. Our community's future depends on it. Thanks for listening. That's the latest buzz of Madison County.